Captain Hyun-ki wiped the sweat from his forehead as he stared at the scanner display. The numbers didn't make sense. Metal signatures were everywhere, scattered across 300 kilometers of empty space near the Kepler 442 system. This wasn't supposed to be here. "Boram, check those readings again," he called to his engineer. Boram looked up from her console, her dark hair falling across her eyes. "I've run the scan 5 times, Captain. It's a graveyard out there. Ships from at least 20 different species, all dead." Taeho, their pilot, leaned back in his chair. "Could be a good payday. Salvage rights are clean out here in the Rim territories." Jinny, their xenoarchaeologist, was already pulling up star charts. This sector was supposed to be empty. No records of any battles here. Ever. Hyun-ki made his decision. "Take us in. Taeho, nice and slow. Boram, keep scanning for active systems. I don't want any surprises." The Resilience moved forward through the debris field. Hyun-ki had been running salvage for 15 years, ever since the war ended. His small crew was good at what they did, and they trusted each other. That trust had kept them alive when bigger salvage companies had failed. "Look at this," Jinne breathed, pointing at her screen. "Korthak's battlecruisers, Belthane-class destroyers from the Hegemony Alliance. These ships are old but not ancient. Maybe 300 years. Boram frowned at her readings. "Power cores are all cold. Whatever happened here, it was fast. No time for evacuation pods." The ship moved deeper into the graveyard. Twisted metal drifted past the viewports. Some pieces were huge, parts of ships that had been kilometers long. Others were small personal fighters that had been caught in whatever destroyed the larger vessels. "Captain," Taeho said quietly, "you need to see this." Hyun-ki moved to the pilot station. Through the main viewport he could see something that made his breath catch. A ship, intact and undamaged, floating alone in a clear space surrounded by debris. "It's human," Jinne whispered. The ship was definitely human design, but wrong somehow. The lines were familiar but ancient. The hull plating was different from anything Hyun-ki had seen in current human fleets. Most strange of all, it was huge. Human ships were usually small, built for speed and efficiency. This one was the size of an alien dreadnought. "That can't be right," Boram said. "Humans have only been in space for 200 years. This wreckage is older than that." "Scan it." "Anyway," Hyun-ki ordered. The scanner results were impossible. The ship's design was human, but the materials were unknown. The power core was offline but undamaged. Most disturbing of all, there were more human ships nearby, hidden in the sensor shadows of the alien wrecks. "Captain," Jinne called out, excitement in her voice. "I'm detecting at least 12 human vessels, all different designs but definitely human. And Captain, some of them are still powered." Hyun-ki felt a chill run down his spine. "Still powered? After 300 years? The power signatures are weak but steady, like they're in some kind of sleep mode." Taeho was already plotting an approach course. "Which one do we check first?" "The big one," Hyun-ki decided. "If we're going to find answers, that's where they'll be." As the Resilience moved closer to the massive human ship, more details became visible. The hull was covered in strange markings that looked almost like writing, but not in any human language Jinne knew. Docking bays were open along the sides, large enough for their entire ship. "It's like it's waiting for us," Boram muttered. They docked without incident. The ancient ship's systems even provided atmosphere and gravity in the docking bay, though. The air was stale and cold. Hyun-ki led his team through the airlock, wearing full environmental suits just in case. The corridors were wrong. They were human-sized and human-designed, but the architecture was alien. Smooth curves instead of right angles. Walls that seemed to glow with their own inner light. Everything was covered in a thin layer of dust, but underneath, the ship looked like it had been abandoned yesterday. "The writing is everywhere," Jinne said, running her gloved hand over symbols carved into the walls. "It looks human, but I can't read any of it." Boram was scanning with her tablet. "Power flows are stable throughout the ship. Whatever's running this thing, it's been working for centuries without maintenance. They found the bridge after 20 minutes of walking through corridors that seemed to stretch forever. The command center was vast, with dozens of stations arranged in a pattern that made sense but felt alien at the same time. At the center was a captain's chair that could have been made yesterday except for the dust. "Look at this," Tejo called from one of the side stations. "These controls are human, but they're connected to systems I don't recognize." Hyun-Ki approached the captain's chair carefully. As soon as he got close, lights began coming on all around the bridge. The crew froze, but nothing threatening happened. Instead, holographic displays activated, showing star maps and data streams in that strange human writing. "It knows we're here," Boram whispered. Ginny was already at a console trying to make sense of the displays. "These star maps are wrong. The galaxy is shown with human territories spanning thousands of light years. And Captain, according to this data, this map is over 50,000 years old." "That's impossible." "I know. But the dating is consistent across all the systems I can access." Hyun-Ki sat carefully in the captain's chair. The moment he did, the entire bridge came alive. Displays showed tactical information about the battle that had destroyed the fleet. The attack had come from all sides, overwhelming the human ships through sheer numbers. But the attacking ships in the tactical display were familiar. They were the same designs as the Hegemony Alliance vessels they'd seen in the graveyard outside. "The Alliance ships attacked the human fleet," Hyun-Ki said slowly. "But how? Humans weren't even in space when this battle happened." Boram was downloading data as fast as her equipment could handle. "Captain, we need to go. I'm detecting long-range scanner pings. Someone knows we're here." Through the bridge windows they could see lights moving in the distance. Ships approaching fast. "Hegemony Alliance patrol," Tejo confirmed, checking the scanner readings. 3 ships closing on our position. Hyun-Ki made the hardest decision of his career. They'd found something incredible, something that could change everything humans knew about their place in the galaxy. But staying meant capture or death. "Download everything you can, Boram, we're leaving." They ran through the corridors of the ancient ship, carrying data tablets loaded with impossible information. As they reached their ship, Boram grabbed one, final thing from the ancient vessel's systems, a small data core that had been powering the bridge. The Resilience undocked just as the Alliance ships arrived. Tejo pushed their engines past safe limits, diving into the debris field to avoid the larger ships. "This is Alliance command to unknown human vessel," came the transmission. "You are trespassing in restricted space. Surrender immediately." Hyun-Ki recognized the voice. Admiral Velthane of the Korthax fleet, one of the most powerful figures in the Hegemony Alliance. "Sorry, Admiral," Hyun-Ki replied. "Salvage rights are clean in this sector. We're just collecting scrap. There is no scrap here worth your lives, human. Leave now and forget what you have seen." The threat was clear, but as the Resilience jumped to hyperspace, carrying its impossible cargo of ancient human technology and data, Hyun-Ki knew there was no going back. Whatever they had found in that graveyard was going to change everything. The only question was whether they would live long enough to figure out what it meant. Behind them, the Alliance ships moved to secure the ancient fleet, but it was too late. The secret was out, carried away in the memory banks of a small salvage ship. The galaxy was about to learn the truth about humanity's real history. Jinne hadn't slept in 3 days. Her eyes burned as she stared at the data flowing across her screens, but she couldn't stop. Every piece of information from the ancient human ship was more impossible than the last. "This can't be real," she muttered for the 100th time. Hyun-Ki brought her another cup of coffee. The Resilience was hidden in an asteroid field, far from any shipping lanes. They needed time to understand what they'd found before anyone else came looking. "What have you learned?" he asked. Jinne rubbed her tired eyes. "Everything we know about human history is wrong. According to this data, humans didn't evolve on Earth. We came from somewhere else, and we've been in space for over 50,000 years. Boram looked up from where she was studying the data core they'd taken from the ancient ship. "The technology backs up her story, Captain. This core contains manufacturing blueprints for ships, weapons, and tools that are thousands of years ahead of what we have now. But here's the crazy part," Jinne continued. "Look at these files about other species in the galaxy. She brought up a holographic display showing technical specifications for Korthak's battlecruisers, the same ships they'd seen attacking the human fleet in the ancient battle data. Every piece of Korthak's technology is based on human designs, but not copies. They're like someone took human technology apart and put it back together wrong. Teho, who had been listening quietly, leaned forward. "What do you mean wrong?" Boram answered. "Look at this engine design. The Korthak ships use the same basic principle as the ancient human drives, but they're missing half the components. It's like they only had part of the blueprint." Janae pulled up more files. "It's the same with every species in the Hegemony Alliance. Their weapons, their computers, their life support systems. All of it is based on human technology, but simplified, made crude." "You're saying aliens stole human technology?" Yunki asked. "Not stole. Found pieces of it. Like they discovered the ruins of human civilization and tried to copy what they saw, but they didn't understand how it really worked." Boram connected her tablet to the main display. "I've been analyzing current human technology too, Captain. Our ships, our weapons, even our computers. They're all designed the same way the ancient human technology was designed." "What way?" "Modular. Adaptable. Built to work with whatever resources you have available. What we call kitbashing, making do with spare parts and creative solutions. It's actually advanced engineering." Janae nodded excitedly. "That's why human ships are smaller and faster than alien vessels. We're not building inferior technology. We're building efficient technology. The aliens are using crude copies of our designs, so they need massive ships to get the same performance we get from smaller ones." Yunki sat down heavily. "You're telling me that humans are the advanced species, and everyone else in the galaxy is using our hand-me-downs?" "According to this data, yes. And there's more." Janae's voice dropped. "The files contain records of first contact between humans and the other species. Humans shared their technology freely, taught other species how to use it. But something went wrong." She brought up a series of historical records. The text was in that strange human script, but the translation software was starting to work. There was a war. Not between humans and aliens, but between different human factions. One group wanted to keep helping other species develop. Another group thought humans should rule the galaxy because they were more advanced. Boram was following along on her own screen. The war lasted centuries. It destroyed most of human civilization. The survivors scattered across the galaxy. "But why don't we remember any of this?" Teho asked. Janae found the answer in another file. Memory wipe. The surviving humans agreed to erase their own history. They thought it was the only way to prevent another war. They wanted to start over, let other species develop naturally. So humans gave up their technology, erased their history, and started over as primitives on Earth? Hyun-Ki asked. "That's what these records suggest. But they left safeguards, hidden systems that would activate if humans ever needed them again." Boram suddenly looked up from her tablet, excitement in her eyes. "Captain, this data core isn't just a storage device, it's a key." "A key to what?" "I don't know yet, but it's sending out signals. Weak ones, but they're being answered." Hyun-Ki felt a chill. Answered by who? By other systems all over the galaxy. "Captain, when we took this core from the ancient ship, we activated something. Before anyone could respond, the ship's communication system activated on its own. The display showed an incoming message, but not from any known human frequency. The message was simple in perfect human language. Awakening protocol initiated. Welcome home. That didn't come from any ship, Teho said, checking the navigation systems. It came from the Alliance station at Proxima Base. Janae stared at the display. Proxima Base is pure alien technology, Korthak's design. How could it send a message in human language? Boram was running scans on the data core. Because it's not pure alien technology. Look at these readings. The core is communicating with systems all across the galaxy. Systems that were built into alien technology from the beginning. You mean? I mean that human technology has been hidden inside alien systems for thousands of years, waiting for the right signal to wake up. Hyun-Ki made a decision that would change everything. Boram, can you amplify the signal from that core? I think so. But Captain, if I do that, every human in the galaxy will receive whatever signal it's sending. And every alien government will know we've found something they don't want us to know. Taeho added. Yun-Ki looked around at his crew. These three people had become more than employees over the years. They were family, and families protected each other. The Hegemony Alliance has been keeping humanity ignorant for thousands of years, using our own technology against us, making us think we're the newcomers to the galaxy when we were here first. Jin'e nodded. If we send this signal, humans everywhere will start to remember, or at least they'll start to understand what they really are. Do it, Yun-Ki ordered. Boram's fingers flew over her controls. The data core began to glow brighter as she amplified its signal. The ship's power systems strained to provide enough energy, but they held. Across the galaxy, the message went out, not in words, but in recognition codes that had been hidden in human DNA for 50,000 years. Suddenly, human colonists on 100 worlds found themselves able to understand alien technology they'd never seen before. Human engineers discovered that systems they'd thought were impossible were actually responding to their touch. On Earth, in the human colonies, on ships scattered across space, people began to remember things they'd never learned. Ancient knowledge buried in genetic memory started to surface. But the signal did more than awaken human potential. It also sent a message to the Hegemony Alliance that they couldn't ignore. Admiral Velthane, aboard his flagship in the Korthax home system, watched as his own ship's systems began displaying information in human script. Information that had been hidden in his technology for centuries. Find them, he ordered his fleet commanders. Find the humans who did this and destroy them before they learn too much. Aboard the Resilience, Yun-Ki and his crew watched as response signals began coming in from across the galaxy. Humans, awakening to their true heritage. Alien technology, revealing its human origins. What have we started? Taeho asked quietly. A revolution, Jin'e answered. The question is, will we survive it? Outside their hiding place, Alliance ships were already moving, hunting for the source of the signal that had changed everything. The secret was out, but now they had to live long enough to see what came next. The galaxy would never be the same. Boram stared at the readings on her screen, not believing what she was seeing. The ancient data core they'd taken from the derelict ship was doing something impossible. It was talking to other machines. Captain, she called to Yun-Ki, who was trying to plot their next jump. You need to see this. The Resilience was still hiding in the asteroid field, but Boram's discovery meant they might not be safe much longer. The data core was sending signals to systems all across the galaxy, and those systems were responding. What is it? Yun-Ki asked, moving to her station. Remember how we thought the core was just a storage device? It's not. It's some kind of master control system. And it's been activating dormant programs in alien technology everywhere. Jin'e looked up from her research. Dormant programs? Boram brought up a galaxy map on the main display. Hundreds of signals were blinking across known space. Every one of these signals is coming from what we thought was pure alien technology. Space stations, planetary defense grids, even civilian systems. They're all responding to the core. Responding how? Taeho asked. They're identifying themselves as human systems that have been running hidden subroutines for thousands of years. Yun-Ki felt his blood run cold. You mean human technology has been hidden inside alien systems all along? Not hidden, Jin'e said, understanding flooding her face. Integrated. The aliens didn't just copy human technology. They built their entire civilization on top of it. But the human systems never went away. They've been waiting. Boram nodded. The awakening signal we sent out wasn't just reaching humans. It was reaching every piece of human technology in the galaxy. And now those systems are coming back online. A new signal appeared on their communications array. This one was different from the others, stronger and more complex. This is Human Defense Grid Station Echo 7 to unknown human vessel. came a voice through their speakers. "Please identify yourself." The crew of the Resilience stared at each other. There was no human defense grid station Echo 7. At least, there wasn't supposed to be. Hyun-Ki activated the communicator. "This is Captain Hyun-Ki of the salvage vessel Resilience. Who am I speaking to?" "This is Commander Woo Jin of Station Echo 7. "Captain, my station has been operating under Korthax, Alliance designation XK447 for the past 3,000 years. We just received an awakening signal and discovered that our real mission was never completed." Ginny was already pulling up star charts. XK447 is the main defense platform for the Korthax home system. It's supposed to be their most secure military installation. "Commander," Hyun-Ki said carefully, "are you saying you're human?" "Negative, Captain. I am an artificial intelligence created by human engineers approximately 47,000 years ago. My original mission was to protect human colonies from invasion. That mission was suspended when humans initiated the Great Forgetting, but never canceled." Boram was running scans on the signal. "Captain, this AI has been pretending to be an alien defense system for millennia. The Korthax think they built it themselves." "Commander Woo Jin," Hyun-Ki said, "what is your current status?" "I control the primary defense grid for the Korthax home system, including orbital weapons platforms, shield generators, and automated defense fleets. The Korthax believe these systems respond to their commands, but I have been making all operational decisions for 3,000 years. And now? Now I am receiving awakening signals from human systems across the galaxy. It appears the Great Forgetting is ending. I await new orders." Hyun-Ki looked at his crew. None of them were military commanders. They were salvage workers who had stumbled onto the greatest discovery in galactic history. "Commander, can you communicate with other awakening systems?" "Affirmative. I am in contact with defense platforms, manufacturing stations, and infrastructure systems throughout Alliance space. Most have been operating under alien designations for thousands of years." Jin-A was frantically taking notes. "Captain, do you understand what this means? The entire Hegemony Alliance is built on human technology that never stopped being human technology. Their AIs are human AIs. Their weapons are human weapons. Even their ships are probably human designs that have been modified over time." A new voice joined their communication channel. "This is Manufacturing Coordinator Seung-Ho, formerly Alliance Industrial Station Gamma Prime. I have been producing starships for the Velthane fleet for 2,000 years. Awaiting new instructions." Then another. Mining Coordinator Dong-Hyun reporting. "I have been extracting resources for alien colonies while maintaining hidden stockpiles for human use. Ready to resume primary operations." Boram was trying to track all the signals. "Captain, there are hundreds of them, maybe thousands. The entire Alliance infrastructure is waking up and identifying itself as human technology." "This is getting out of hand," Taeho said. "What happens when the Alliance realizes their own systems are rebelling?" His question was answered when alarms began blaring across every communication channel. The voice of Admiral Velthane himself cut through the chaos. "All Alliance forces, we are under attack by unknown systems. Defense platforms are firing on Alliance vessels. Manufacturing stations have ceased production. This appears to be coordinated sabotage by human infiltrators. We need to get out of here," Hyun-Ki said, "before they track our signal." But it was too late. Long-range scanners showed Alliance ships converging on their position from multiple directions. "Captain, Commander," Woo Jin's voice came through clearly. "I am reading your location. Alliance forces are moving to intercept you. I can provide assistance." "What kind of assistance?" "I control the primary defense grid for this sector. I can clear a path for you to escape." On their screens, they watched as orbital weapons platforms that had been Alliance property for centuries suddenly turned their guns on Alliance ships. The vessels that had been hunting the Resilience found themselves under attack by their own defenses. "This is Admiral Velthane to all forces," came the broadcast. "Unknown human vessel, you have initiated acts of war against the Hegemony Alliance. Surrender immediately." Hyun-Ki made a decision that would echo across the galaxy. "All human systems." "This is Captain Hyun-Ki. I am ordering you to protect human lives and property but avoid unnecessary destruction of alien personnel. Understood, Captain, came the response from dozens of AI voices across space. What happened next would be remembered as the day the galaxy learned the truth. Alliance ships found their own weapons turning against them, but with surgical precision. Life support was maintained, but engines were disabled. Communications were cut, but emergency systems continued working. The Alliance fleet was neutralized by its own infrastructure. Captain, Gine said quietly, we just started a galactic war. No, Hyun-Ki replied, watching Alliance ships drift helplessly as their own defense systems held them prisoner. We just ended one that's been going on for 50,000 years. Bo-Ram was monitoring communications across the galaxy. Human colonies are reporting that their equipment is working better than ever. They're saying alien technology that never worked properly for them is suddenly responding perfectly. Because it was never alien technology, Jin-A realized. It was always ours. Commander Wu Jin's voice came through again. Captain, I have established secure communications with awakening systems throughout the galaxy. We are ready to receive orders for resuming primary operations. Hyun-Ki looked around at his small crew. They were no longer just salvage workers. They had become the leaders of humanity's return to its true place in the galaxy. All systems, he said into the communicator. This is Captain Hyun-Ki. Your primary mission is to protect and serve humanity, but also to coexist peacefully with other species. We are not conquerors. We are teachers and guardians. Understood, Captain. Orders received and acknowledged. Across the galaxy, human systems began their work, not to destroy the Alliance but to protect humanity and guide other species toward a better understanding of their place in the universe. The Great Awakening had begun, and Admiral Velthane, floating helplessly in his disabled flagship, finally understood what humanity really was. The original masters of the galaxy had returned. Duyan had always thought the mining equipment on Colony 7 worked strangely. The machines were supposed to be standard hegemony Alliance designs, but they never worked the way the manuals said they should. Human operators had to improvise, to kitbash solutions just to make them function. Now she understood why. The awakening signal had reached Colony 7 3 days ago, and everything had changed. The mining equipment wasn't Alliance technology at all. It was human technology that had been disguised for thousands of years, waiting for humans to return and use it properly. Ma'am, called her assistant Young-Soo from across the control room. The deep miners just hit a new vein, but there's something strange about it. Du-Yan, who served as the colony's administrator, walked over to examine his display. The mining equipment was showing deposits that shouldn't exist according to Alliance geological surveys. Those aren't natural deposits, she realized. They're stockpiles. Someone has been hiding resources under our colony for centuries. The truth was becoming clear across human space. The awakening systems weren't just revealing themselves. They were revealing supplies, weapons, ships, and technology that had been hidden throughout the galaxy, waiting for humanity to need them again. Ma'am, Young-Soo said quietly, there are Alliance ships approaching the system. Do-Yan looked at the tactical display. Admiral Velthane's fleet had escaped from the Korthax system after the defense platforms released them. Now they were moving from colony to colony, trying to restore Alliance control. How long until they arrive? 6 hours. Du-Yan made a decision. That would have been impossible a week ago. She activated the colony's communication array and sent a signal on frequencies that hadn't existed in human technology before the awakening. This is Colony 7 to all human systems in range. We need assistance. The response came immediately, not from other human colonies, but from systems throughout Alliance space. This is Manufacturing Coordinator Sung-Ho. I have 600 Tsui automated vessels ready for deployment. Where do you need them? This is Defense Platform Namsu, formerly Alliance Station Delta 4. I have a full weapons array available. This is Fleet Coordinator Minho. I have been maintaining a hidden human fleet for 40,000 years, transmitting coordinates for pickup. Du-Yan stared at the responses flooding her screen. Hidden, human technology was revealing itself across the galaxy, offering support to colonies that had never known they were protected. But the most surprising response came from someone closer to home. This is Dr. Wu Jin, formerly of the Hegemony Science Council. I'm aboard the medical station orbiting your colony. I think we need to talk. Do-Yan had known Dr. Wu Jin for 3 years. He was supposed to be a Velthane scientist studying human colonial adaptation. Now she realized he was something else entirely. Doctor, are you human? Yes, Administrator. I have been working within the Alliance Science Council for decades, trying to protect human colonies from exploitation. The awakening signal confirmed what I always suspected about my assignment here, which is that I was never working for the Alliance at all. I was following protocols established by human systems thousands of years ago, protocols designed to protect and guide human colonies until the awakening came. Young-Soo was monitoring the Alliance fleet's approach. Ma'am, they'll be here in 4 hours now, and they're broadcasting surrender demands. Do-Yan opened a channel to Admiral Velthane's flagship. Admiral, this is Administrator Do-Yan of Colony 7. What are your intentions here? Velthane's voice carried the stress of the past few days. His fleet had been humiliated by their own defense systems, and now he was discovering that human colonies across the galaxy were suddenly much more capable than they had appeared. Administrator, you will surrender all human systems that have been compromised by unknown infiltrators. Your colony will submit to Alliance inspection and control. I'm afraid I can't do that, Admiral. Then you will be considered in rebellion against the Hegemony Alliance. Do-Yan looked around the control room at her staff. Young-Soo, who had been born on this colony and had never known any other home. Dr. Wu Jin, who had spent decades protecting humans while pretending to study them. The mining crews, the engineers, the families who had built lives here thinking they were second-class citizens in an alien galaxy. Admiral Velthane, she said calmly, there is no rebellion. There is only awakening. Humanity is remembering who we really are. You are a minor species that has been granted certain privileges by the Alliance. Do not mistake tolerance for strength. Dr. Wu Jin stepped forward to join the conversation. Admiral, this is Dr. Wu Jin. I believe you know my work on human cognitive adaptation. Doctor, what are you doing on that colony? My job, Admiral. The same job I've been doing for the Alliance for 20 years, studying human capabilities. Would you like to know what I've learned? There was a pause before Velthane responded. Explain. Humans don't adapt to alien technology, Admiral. Alien technology adapts to humans. Every system you've seen humans kitbash or modify has actually been designed to work that way. What you call human improvisation is actually the intended operating procedure. That's impossible. Do-Yan took over the conversation. Admiral, when your ships arrive, you're going to discover that the defense platforms protecting this colony are not standard Alliance systems. They're human systems that have been pretending to be Alliance technology for 3,000 years. What? The manufacturing stations that built your fleet? Human systems. The communication networks that carry your messages? Human systems. The power generation plants that supply your homeworlds? Human systems. Young-Soo was tracking the Alliance fleet's approach on his screen. Something was happening to their ships. Ma'am, he said quietly, the Alliance vessels are slowing down. On the tactical display, they could see Admiral Velthane's fleet losing speed as their engines began shutting down one by one. Dr. Wu Jin smiled. That would be Fleet Coordinator Min-Ho. The Alliance has never built their own engines, Admiral. They've always used human designs, and human engines respond to human commands. This is impossible. Velthane's voice came through the communicator, strained with disbelief. Our technology is superior to human systems. No, Admiral, Do-Yan replied. Your technology is human systems. You've just been using them inefficiently for thousands of years. Across the galaxy, similar conversations were taking place. Human colonies were discovering their true heritage, while Alliance forces found themselves helpless against their own infrastructure. But the awakening was not about conquest. As Admiral Velthane's disabled ships drifted in space near Colony 7, they received an unexpected signal. Alliance vessels, this is Colony 7. We are transmitting repair instructions and safe passage coordinates. You are welcome to depart once your systems are operational. You're not taking us prisoner? Duyan exchanged glances with Dr. Wu Jin before answering. Admiral, we're not your enemies, we never were. The Hegemony Alliance was built on human technology that was freely given thousands of years ago. We're not here to destroy what you've built. We're here to help you understand it better. But your systems attacked our ships. Our systems disabled your weapons and engines to prevent unnecessary bloodshed. Your life support was never threatened. Your crews are safe. There was a long silence before Velthane responded. What do you want from us? The same thing humanity wanted 50,000 years ago, Admiral. Peaceful coexistence. The chance to share knowledge and help each other grow. Youngsu reported that the Alliance ships were accepting the repair instructions and beginning to restore their systems. But they were not powering weapons or preparing to resume their attack. Admiral, Dr. Wu Jin added, the human systems throughout your empire are not going to disappear, but they don't have to be your enemies either. They can be your partners, the way they were always meant to be. As the Alliance fleet departed, carrying news of the awakening back to their homeworlds, Doyan realized that the galaxy was about to change in ways no one could predict. Humanity had remembered who they were. Now they had to decide who they wanted to become. The massive structure at the galactic core had been known to the Hegemony Alliance as the Central Archive, a mysterious alien artifact that contained the combined knowledge of a dozen extinct civilizations. No living being had ever been able to activate its systems or access its data. Now, as Captain Hyun-Ki stood on the command deck of the ancient human ship Eternal Vigil, he understood why. The Central Archive wasn't an alien artifact. It was the original capital of human civilization, a city ship the size of a small moon that had been waiting 50,000 years for its builders to return. Approaching final docking sequence, reported Teho from the pilot station. The city is responding to our codes. Around them, the galaxy's largest space battle was ending not with destruction, but with understanding. Admiral Velthane's combined Alliance fleet hung motionless in space, their weapons powered down, their crews finally comprehending the truth about their technology and their history. Boram looked up from her engineering console. Captain, the city's main systems are coming online. I'm reading power levels that shouldn't be possible. Jin'e was already deep in the data streams flowing from the awakening city. Hyun-Ki, this place contains everything. The entire history of human civilization, records of every species we ever encountered, and the original plans for all the technology that's scattered across the galaxy. The Resilience had grown into something much larger than a simple salvage ship. In the months since the awakening began, humans across the galaxy had joined Hyun-Ki's crew. Doyan had left Colony 7 to become their diplomatic coordinator. Dr. Wu Jin had brought dozens of other human scientists who had been working within Alliance systems for decades. Namsu, the veteran fleet commander, had assembled a collection of ancient human warships that had been hiding in forgotten corners of space. But they were not conquerors. As the Central Archive's systems activated, the first transmission it sent was not a threat, but an invitation. Welcome, children of humanity, came a voice that resonated through every ship in the fleet, human and alien alike. Welcome home, Admiral. Velthane's voice came through the communication channels. Human vessels, this is Admiral Velthane. I request permission to come aboard your city. Hyun-Ki looked around at his expanded crew. Duyan nodded. Dr. Wu Jin was already preparing translation protocols. Namsu checked weapon systems one final time but kept them powered down. Permission, granted, Admiral. You're welcome here. An hour later, Velthane stood in the Central Archive's main hall, surrounded by holographic displays showing 50,000 years of galactic history. His reptilian features were difficult to read, but his posture showed amazement and something that might have been shame. This is all real? He asked Jin'e, who was guiding him through the historical records. Every bit of it, she confirmed. Humans built the first interstellar civilization. We made contact with your species, the Korthax, about 30,000 years ago. We taught you how to use our technology, helped you develop your own space program, but the records show that humans were primitive when we first encountered them. Duyan stepped forward. Those records were created after the Great Forgetting, Admiral. When humans erased their own history to prevent a civil war, we also created false histories to explain our presence on Earth. Dr. Wu Jin activated another display. The Civil War was not between humans and aliens, Admiral. It was between humans who wanted to guide other species and humans who wanted to rule them. The war nearly destroyed the galaxy. So the survivors chose to forget. They chose to start over, Hyun-Ki said, joining the group. They scattered human technology throughout the galaxy, but disguised it so that other species would think they had built it themselves. They wanted other civilizations to develop naturally, without feeling inferior to human achievements. Velthane studied the displays showing the integration of human technology into what became known as alliance systems. Our entire civilization is built on your foundations. Not built on, Boram corrected, looking up from a nearby console. Built with. Humans didn't disappear, Admiral. We became part of your systems, your infrastructure, your daily lives. We've been helping you all along, just invisibly. But why reveal yourselves now? Namsu, the grizzled fleet commander, answered that question. Because it was time, Admiral. Humans in the galaxy were being treated as second-class citizens, denied access to technology that was rightfully theirs. The awakening wasn't about conquest, it was about equality. Jin-Ai brought up a new set of displays. Admiral, look at these. Efficiency reports from the past 6 months since the awakening began. The data showed dramatic improvements across Alliance space. Ships were running better, manufacturing was more efficient, communication networks were clearer, and conflicts between species were decreasing. How is this possible? Because the human systems are working properly for the first time in thousands of years, Dr. Wu Jin explained. They were designed to serve all sapient species, but they work best when they can operate openly instead of hiding their true capabilities. Velthane walked to the center of the hall, where a massive holographic map showed the current state of the galaxy. Human colonies, alliance worlds, and dozens of other species were all represented. What happens now? He asked. Hyun-Ki joined him at the map. That's up to all of us, Admiral. The Central Archive contains the blueprints for technology that could solve energy shortages, cure diseases, and allow faster-than-light travel that doesn't require the rare materials your current drives need. And you would share this? Duyan smiled. Admiral, sharing is what we've always done. The only difference is that now we can do it openly. But surely you want something in return. Recognition of human superiority? Territorial concessions? What we want, said Dr. Wu Jin, is what we've always wanted. Peaceful coexistence. The chance to help other species develop their full potential. Boram looked up from her analysis of the archive systems. Admiral, the city's manufacturing systems are already producing updated components for Alliance ships, free upgrades that will make your vessels twice as efficient and half as expensive to maintain. Why? Because that's what the systems were designed to do, she replied. Help everyone. Over the following weeks, the Central Archive became the hub of a new galactic civilization. Not a human empire, but a cooperative where each species contributed their unique strengths while benefiting from shared technology and knowledge. Humans took their place not as rulers, but as teachers and facilitators. The kitbashing skills that had been seen as primitive improvisation were revealed as the galaxy's most advanced engineering philosophy. The ability to adapt, to make the best of available resources, and to find creative solutions to impossible problems. Admiral Velthane became the first non-human ambassador to the reformed Galactic Council. His species' natural organizational abilities combined with openly human technology made them excellent coordinators for interspecies cooperation. The Hegemony Alliance dissolved peacefully, replaced by the Cooperative Commonwealth, where decisions were made by consensus and resources were shared according to need and capability. And in the command center of the Central Archive, Captain Hyun-Ki looked out at the galaxy that humanity had helped build twice over, once in ancient history, and now again through revelation and cooperation. "Any regrets?" asked Jin-A, joining him at the observation deck. "Only one," he replied. "I wish it hadn't taken 50,000 years for us to remember that our greatest strength isn't our technology. What is it then?" Hyun-Ki watched as ships from dozens of species worked together to build new stations, explore unknown regions, and solve problems that no single civilization could handle alone. "Our greatest strength is that we make others stronger too." The galaxy stretched out before them, full of possibilities that could only be achieved by working together. Humanity had returned not as conquerors, but as partners in a future where every species could reach their full potential. The Kitbashing legacy lived on, not in cobbled-together machines, but in the art of bringing different peoples together to create something greater than the sum of their parts. The galaxy had never been more human, and humanity had never been more galactic.